Welcome, episode 165 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown, doing our UFC 300 recap. And man, best prelims ever. You can debate whether it's the best main card ever. I think best prelims and best early prelims ever is like literally not debatable.
Yeah, I'd fully agree. I mean, and it's 4-fight prelims, 4-fight early prelims. So that already tells you, like, sometimes we get a 5-5 split. So even less fights here, but dude, every fight was honestly a banger. We'll obviously start here with the early version of the prelims. And you could argue that, dude, like all four of the fights we're looking at here would headline a fight night. And that's even the very first fight of the night, which is two former champions in Deiveson Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, I think this one could actually maybe headline like an arena fight night, especially if that arena was like in Sacramento or something. But I think that fight would sell at the Golden One Center.
I agree with you, man. I think like Jim Miller and Bobby Green you'd have a hard time with, or Rodriguez and Andrade, they'd force you to watch, but those would be like Apex.
Yeah. And then Moicano Turner's almost like right on that border.
It's on the edge.
Probably
it's on the edge.
Yeah. Wouldn't sell like a big arena, but remember that one time they did that like casino ballroom or whatever? They could sell like a smaller venue, or like if they went to some super obscure town that like never gets UFC. But yeah, I don't think they're selling out like a major city.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, honestly, OKC would probably sell out for Moicano and Turner. I hate to say that, but OKC is on that level. Like, I mean, Kevin Lee and Chiesa was the fight they put in OKC last time for a fight night, and it's like, I would take Moicano and Turner in that same light.
When Moicano's building his brand, bro, Moicano's going up and to the right. Like
big time. Yeah. Big time. Like steep.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that on the next one. We'll get to that in the next one. We got Figueiredo, former champion, minus 380, number 8th ranked bantamweight, taking on Cody Garbrandt, another former champion, although kind of held in lower regards these days. Plus 300 dog, as that line would indicate. Fighting in the bantamweight division. I mean, maybe best curtain jerking fight of all time.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Now, as far as like how the actual fight plays out, I'm not going to say that the fight was altogether the most entertaining, but it is kind of what I thought the fight would be.
Yeah, and I gotta say, round one was very close. I scored it to Garbrandt. I like Garbrandt's work.
I did as well. I'm glad you said that, because I thought his activity, honestly, paired with, I thought damage, you could argue he had a slight leg up, and also activity. And, I mean, he wasn't trying to grapple, so it wasn't like a control measure of anything was going to be implied.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fast 1-2s, he looked long, he looked fast. Like, it looked like the length and the speed was maybe going to be an issue for Figgy. And I was like, all right, maybe we got a fight on our hands. We were super bullish with our Figgy picks, had Figgy on our parlay.
I was going to say, this does make me nervous moving forward betting Figueiredo. Now, I'm not going to never trust. I'm always going to trust our rankings is a better way to say that statement I was about to say, but I'm never not going to. That would sound bad. Always going to trust our rankings, which we clearly had Figueiredo ahead. We had Garbrandt sitting, mid-tier. Because like we had said, man, you might have two wins against cans that looked great, but I didn't forget the 6-fight skid. And neither did you, and neither did the Sharks in Vegas. That's why the odds were set as they were. Now, all that being said, Garbrandt looked great in the first 5 minutes, and Figueiredo is one of those guys that'll start slow sometimes, and he's so used to fighting 5-round fights, I was kind of nervous that I don't know that he's going to put his foot on the gas quite enough, and he also is kind of the sniper rocket launcher kind of fighter where it's power in small numbers and not just a barrage of small shots.
Yeah, agreed. Not known for his volume, but known for his power. And honestly, at bantamweight, kind of looks like more of a grappler. Like, he's getting these guys to the ground, which is smart. He is short for the division. So
he's technically a lot better than these guys. I mean, we talk about that all the time with flyweights. They're the most technical guys in the entire UFC, women or men, whatever you want to say. The 125ers are definitely your most skilled guys. So when it comes to like going up 10 pounds and applying the technique against some of the bantamweights like Garbrandt that might rely slightly on power and athleticism over technique, you get to see it with bigger flyweights like Figueiredo.
Yeah, and I mean, round two, Figgy's able to get it to the ground, which is much more advantageous for his skill set in this matchup. Let's get to this finishing sequence. It was pretty slick, man. We get the trip takedown straight to mount. go for the arm triangle attempt, back to mount, and then switch to the back take. It was like, talk about technical on the ground, bro.
Oh, he was flowing position to position. It was really really nice, man. Like there was even one point where Garbrandt pretty much almost sat all the way up, and Figueiredo like caught him by the neck and threw him back down and maintained position whilst also switching over to half or side control. It was like that was really well done. Like you could tell that it looked like it was muscle memory for him, right? Like his body was physically reacting more so than his mind was reacting. And I also think that Figueiredo...
Oh, 100%. Sorry, I had to get that do not disturb on.
Oh yeah,
I was starting to get some notifications. I forgot to turn on my do not disturb. But yeah, no, he looked great. Ends up getting the rear naked choke. End of the second round, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Cashes the first leg of the parlay. Looks great.
Yeah, I was feeling really good about it. As soon as I saw him get the takedown and pretty much fly into full mount, I felt a lot better. Especially considering that even if he doesn't finish Garbrandt in that round, I just have Figueiredo to win. I would have it 19-19 after that, and I would assume that Figueiredo understands, like, oh, just take him down and I win. So I felt a lot better as a better 2 minutes into the round, and obviously 4 minutes into the round, we're locking up a choke, so I felt great.
Well, and then let's talk about, you mentioned earlier, trusting the rankings when it comes to Figueiredo moving forward. And I got to discuss my rankings of where I see him in the bantamweight division, bro. I have him at 11, and it's hard for me to move him higher than that. He's like, I have Cheeto at 10. And I think that if Garbrandt was giving him trouble, and Cheeto's a more technical grappler than Garbrandt, I think he has a hard time with Cheeto, personally.
Yeah, but your 8-9-7 is probably not what everyone else would have.
No, I have some I have Umar all the way up at 3, which skews my rankings because it's a power rankings, and I think Umar can basically beat everybody and maybe struggles with O'Malley and Marab as of now, coming off the injuries and stuff. I have Mario Bautista at 9, probably higher than some other people do.
That's one guy I think would actually struggle with Figueiredo.
Do you think Mario Bautista would?
You cut out right there on the last part. What was the question?
Do you think Mario Bautista beats Cheeto?
I think that's a really good fight, but probably because he's going to fight a really mixed martial arts style of fight, and Cheeto's probably not going to be as good at defending the takedowns, and he's going to give up rounds due to losing control. I think on the feet, they're probably even. See, that's where I think Davison's a big problem, is that, the way he fights is, I think, stylistically a problem there in that matchup. Interesting matchup. I wouldn't hate seeing it next.
It sounds like you would have Figueiredo ranked above both those guys, above Cheeto and Mario, right?
Yeah, I do. I have him at 8. So, but I mean, that's right around where the UFC officially has him too. He's at 6 in the UFC official rankings today, but
also age is a factor. Figue's 36 now. You know what I mean? I think that factors in when I'm talking about a young bull like Batista.
Yeah, and it's also you look at UFC rankings, you're talking about Munoz is 14. I definitely disagree there. Ricky Simone's 15. I don't have him there, honestly, at this point. So, I mean, not far off, but I'm not saying he's not going to be my number 15 guy. Honestly, I moved Peyton Talbot way up in these rankings. Not to 15, you're way up.
Yeah, I have Peyton at 24 right now. I mean, God, I love this division. So stacked. You got Marcus McGee. You got Randy Nakamura, Montel Jackson. You got the Basharar bros, Daniel Marcos, Peyton Talbot. Bro, you got young sharks swimming at that back end, dog. But, man, let's keep it pushing to the lightweights, man, because this fight was epic, too.
Yeah, absolutely. This fight almost causes us to not cash our bet.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
sorry, getting a sneeze attack over here. My goodness.
That Oklahoma pollen is kicking out there. We got Bobby Green minus 185 finished at. We got him at minus 175 on our parlay. So shout out, that was cool value. Taking on Jim Miller plus 155. We also had a Bobby Green by decision ticket, which cashed. I forget what the odds were on it.
Plus 145.
Okay, so yeah, it took it from minus 175 to plus 145. That's how you get value there. But hey, that ticket was in peril in round 2 and 3.
Oh my
I was
god.
sweating.
Round 2, I was like a little sweaty, like pretty sweaty, but I believed like, okay, Jim Miller can survive getting cracked one. I mean, round by round we can go, sure, but Bobby Green dominates every round. So like, we'll just go ahead and put that out at the precipice for anyone wondering, like, how do we score rounds? It's either do we score at a 10-8 or a 10-9. First round, 10-9. I think that's like pretty across the board, right?
Yeah, round 1 was by far the closest round of this fight. Jim Miller landed.
Now, you know what's odd is we do have to discuss round 1, and then we'll discuss how you score round 2 and 3. But did you score round 1 for Miller? Because I scored it for Green.
No, I scored it for Green. I'm just saying it was the closest round of the fight. It was Miller's best round.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, 2 judges do score round 1 for Miller. So, I mean, if
Oh,
I mean,
I don't hate it though. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
like he landed some stiff shots. It was just
right.
like few and far between.
Right. I thought the output from Green mixed with the damage was. I thought that's why he won the round. But yeah, only one judge agreed with us there. Now, pushing it to round 2, did you score round 2 at 10-8?
No, I'll let the cat out of the bag. I don't have any 10-8s, man.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, round 3's got to be a 10-8.
I mean, one judge agrees with me. I just like there wasn't really like knockdowns happening, and Jim Miller was still in the fight, like firing back. There was never like unanswered ground and pound. Like there was a lot of damage, but I think that like any stoppage would have been premature. Now, as a bettor, I was worried that they were going to stop it, but I do think it would have been a bad stoppage. Like, I guess it's like an old school view of a 10-8, like the whole could have been stopped. But I mean, I'm not dying on the hill here. I just thought it was like maybe on the verge, like 9.1 on verdict.
See, that's what I said for round 2. Now, round 3, I could not say that. Round 3, Jim Miller got dragged across the octagon for 95 seconds as a zombie. Like, he got knocked down almost 3 times. He got held up by the cage on the third one. Like,
round 3 I could see for sure. Round 3 I could see for sure.
Thought the ref should have stopped it. As a bettor, I'm screaming, please don't. But, like,
maybe that skewed me. Maybe this is one where my bet skewed me. Maybe this is one where my bet skewed me. I don't hate it. Like I said, I don't really have too good of arguments against it. Like, yeah, Jim Miller got these shit whooped out of him. Like, yeah, I'm not really trying to get pushback or down that hill.
Yeah, I mean, it's just round 3 was like brutal. Jim Miller ended up breaking a toe, something else, and getting like 27 stitches. And he wasn't really too ripped open until round 3. I mean, he was bleeding pretty bad in 2, but
damage. I also think Bobby Green's chin and like weird non-cuttable skin, like that. Like I thought Jim Miller was like getting damage off.
That's the only reason he even survived round 3 is because he stung Bobby Green a few times and he was coming in for the kill. Like each time Bobby Green would overcommit the kill, Jim Miller would sting him with at least one good one, and Bobby Green would be like, okay. And then you saw it with like 12 seconds to go. He got stung again and was like, fuck it, and just took him down. It was like, I'm not gonna try it.
And that factored in my scorecard too, because like Miller would have these little moments of success, and like just like I think a lot of those shots, like against somebody not named Bobby Green, maybe wobbled, maybe cut. Like Bobby Green is just made of fucking iron.
Yeah, but to me, it's like staving away like death by like the grace of God that's a 10-8 in my opinion. Like if you're barely surviving multiple times.
But you're having success though. Like you're winning exchanges here and there.
That's like success, like saying like you're down 21 points, but your defense got a 3 and out. Like, congrats.
Yeah,
you're getting shit rocked.
Oh, bro, if I get a 3 and out, dude, I'm fucking storming off the field like this.
After you let him 21 already.
Hey, that was on the corners. That's on the corners. But,
hey, if you're OU in 2015, that's the truth.
One judge had 30-25. One judge had 29-26, which I think that's a weird scorecard. So it gave round 1 to Miller and then had 2 10-8s. Is that how that works out?
Yep, exactly right.
That's strange. One judge agrees with me, 30-27.
No. 29-27.
No.
That other judge gave a 10-8 as well in round 3.
Oh, I could have sworn one was 30-27. Okay, my bad. I missed that on the broadcast. But, yeah. All right, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Bobby Green, man, it's almost like he's hard to matchmake moving forward, but he also like you kind of can't miss at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you do with Bobby Green.
I got it. I mean, his call out was perfect. I mean, and Sean Shelby this week had already talked about how he would like that matchup.
Patty, right? He called out Patty.
Yeah, because Patty's been talking shit about Bobby Green, and it's like the guy that everyone calls out is Patty. So at this point, it's like, well, whoever Patty calls out is what we should do. And who would be more fun than Bobby Green against Patty?
Yeah, and I think of all these fucking jabrones with their lazy Patty call outs, like his was actually good, and B, he actually deserves it. That would be sick.
Perfect. Like, deserving is one thing that I already think matters, right? Like, at this point, Moicano could have called for it, but I think he's even past it. Now that he has the steam that he has and the ranking he has, and fighting Jalen Turner, obviously a chance to go up the ladder. Like, Moicano's kind of past the Patty Pimblett call-out, whereas Bobby Green isn't really in title contention, but is a huge name, super fun fight style, and will sell a fight in the press.
1,000% agree. And then Jim Miller, man, you know, we're nearing the end of the road. I think he may have a couple left in him against some contender series guys or like whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of, but he's at the back end now.
I'll be real. I would have liked to have seen the gloves come off Jim Miller after this one. This would have been the perfect time. I mean, I know it's a loss, but like, man, like fighting UFC 100, 200, 300, being the star that he was, and like the pioneer wing vet and Hall of Famer that he is, I just kind of feel like this was the perfect time. Like, it's your last
and there's no other good fights for him.
Yeah, like who are you going to fight?
Other fights are against either cans or prospects. Like,
and like, what night is anyone else going to care more? What night are more eyeballs on the sport to really like give you your send off? I don't know. I thought it was maybe. No,
I don't hate that take. I don't hate that take at all. But let's keep it pushing to the strawweights here. Jessica Andrade taking on Marina Rodriguez. Do you know what they were ranked going into this one?
I do not. Yeah, actually, I do. I have it right here. Let's see. Jessica Andrade was 4 and Rodriguez was 6.
Okay, yeah, so high end matchup. To get this on the early prelims was fucking sick. Fuck WMMA haters. But yeah, super impactful fight to the division. Andrade minus 150, Marina plus 125. I always forget how old Marina is. I kind of think of her as like an up and comer still, but like 36 years old.
Every single time, because I always think of her as like 32, 33, 31 even. Like I've thought of her as younger than she is, but like every time I see 36, I'm like, what the hell? This division, not even this division, but it's just always the top end of women that's always old. There's only one division that really is starting to flip over 125.
Well, and like so, and that's what makes this tough for me because we get a split decision here. We get a split decision that I disagree with, and that's what sucks for like Marina Rodriguez. I feel like this was her moment. If it was ever going to happen, it was going to be this moment. And at 36, split decision goes to Andrade. I just feel like, you know, that's kind of like if Poirier loses to Islam, like it's over. Like you're not climbing the ladder no more. Like that's how this felt for Marina, which I said I scored it to Marina. We can go round by round. So like that's what made it kind of sting. Like I didn't have money on this fight, and it's not like I'm some huge Marina Rodriguez fan. Just like seeing her age, this stage, this moment, and to get kind of jobbed on a split decision, it's like I felt bad for her.
You know, I didn't have too much trouble scoring 1 or 3. For me, it was round 2 was the hard round to score, but I actually agree with you, believe it or not. I scored it for Rodriguez as well. Now, was I, like, super surprised that it was a split? Not necessarily. I kind of thought in my head, like, that's a close fight. I could definitely see one judge perhaps taking Andrade, but I honestly thought it would be like a 2-1 split for Rodriguez. That's where I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, and it was kind of the classic like quantity versus quality debate. Like Andrade would land a couple power shots around, and like Marina would kind of react poorly to them and get wobbled and stunned and just kind of have bad body language. Like she would get hurt like basically in every round. But I mean, like basically like, she won like 4 minutes of each round. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and also heavy with the leg kicks too. I mean, I think she threw like 45 leg kicks. She was constantly trying to swing for a leg.
long straight punches. I mean, she was getting her own damage off too. Like I said, it wasn't really pitter pat bullshit. Like she was landing like stiff, like straight punches. They weren't like haymakers like Andrade was landing. And she's kind of a frailly built girl, but like I mean, I don't know. I like Rodriguez's work, but I guess split decision, close fight, like not necessarily a robbery, but just yeah, we both scored it to Rodriguez.
It just sucks when it's David Lethaby and Adelaide Bird that are the ones that don't give you the fight, and it's like, oh man, like Adelaide Bird's gonna cost you a fight. Like here we go.
That's a very good point. Also, I didn't realize most wins in like women's UFC history for Andrade, like that's impressive. Like I mean, like she's had her ups and downs,
Yeah,
and a lot of it's.
So it's like in our breakdown of this fight, we took it as a no bet simply because Andrade is a roller coaster. She's either great or she's terrible, and you kind of even got that within this fight itself. So
yeah, there was a lot of moments where she could not get inside. She could not manage the distance. She was eating shots. And then, like, at the end of every round, she would just land a couple nukes and, like, kind of steal the round back. Or, like, we're not in our case, but, like, I think that's what the judges saw.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess I get it, right, at damage, but I just felt like Rodriguez's, like, damage over time was adding up to be more than those, like, few significant shots that Andrade would get. Now, I will say Andrade, with the takedown and the control, she only got the one takedown that she tried. I was surprised she didn't go for more in the fight. But that also speaks to Rodriguez kind of learned past that point, like, okay, I'm not going to be able to deal with, like, I can't get up once she gets on top.
Yeah, and as far as moving forward for both of these ladies, it's just kind of like mid. Like, they're both obviously top 10 girls, but they're both obviously not top 5 girls, in my opinion. Some people might think Andrade is. She gets kind of treated like she is, but I don't have her in my top 5.
That's the other thing I don't like about Andrade is they use her name like it's I mean, they just use her as a sell, but I'm kind of over watching her fight, man. I'll be honest. Like, she does not a draw for me.
No, and I mean, I can't. It's hard to matchmake her moving forward. A, because she's fought everybody on earth, and B, because we're not really trying to get her on a title trajectory. So I could see her just fighting like. I don't know, maybe even like a Tabitha Ricci or a Lupi Godinez, like try to build up one of these young girls off her name. I could see that.
Yeah, I like the Ricci fight a lot. Tabitha Ricci Andrade, or even Ricci Rodriguez is fun too.
Yeah, but I think that's where both of them are at in their careers, where they're going to be kind of like getting used to build the next generation. Honestly, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. But man, with that, I said
we got more lightweights.
Yeah, this next one. Absolute banger. The man Money Moicano has earned the nickname Money Moicano at this point. What are the final odds in that here? Is Jalen Turner, I believe, minus 240?
Minus 240 for the 10th ranked Turner against Moicano at plus 195, coming in ranked 13. So good matchmaking. Important for that back end of that deep lightweight division. And man, I'll say this: we nailed this breakdown like we had a fucking crystal ball, my
crazy.
friend. Like
I was going to say crazy because round 1, Turner looks great. Has him on the end of the jab.
Knockdown.
It scores the knockdown. Is landing, in my opinion, good leg kicks, keeping the distance. I mean, looking like the Jalen Turner that everyone fears at 155, the long, rangy, powerful lightweight. But. As we talked about in our breakdown, Moicano is an absolute dog. And if you don't put him away, you're in for a dog fight. And if you're a guy that breaks easy, as we've seen Jalen Turner do against Dan Hooker, then I can't bet on you in that fight. So we said Jalen Turner is a minus 240 favorite that you can't bet on at that number. Which is a perfect breakdown. Bro. Now, we might have been a little coy to not jump on Moicano at plus 195, but I felt like if Jalen Turner fought the kind of fight he is capable of fighting, he can win the fight. So for me, it was like just more of a no bet kind of a thing. Bet.
Yeah, bro. Like, man, remember whenever Jake Paul was about to fight Tommy Fury, and he kept calling him Tommy Fumbles, man. I love Jalen Turner. I think he's a cool guy. I love that he skateboards and stuff. He's a really talented athlete. But man, he's starting to look like Jalen Fumbles, bro. Like nobody fumbles away a fight or an opportunity more than Jalen Turner.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. And like He's a guy that if fights were 5 minutes, he'd be one of the hardest guys in the UFC to fight. But unfortunately,
5-minute world champ.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. But unfortunately for him, it's a minimum 15 and 25 if you want to be a world champ. And I don't know, Jalen Turner's one of those guys that it's just like highest ceiling on earth, but consistently stays on like a low, like stair steps of a floor almost. Like it's like he's on the staircase between the attic and the basement, and he can't decide where he wants to be.
Let's talk real quick a little bit more of what happened inside the Bellator, and then I got some bigger picture questions about these two guys. So whenever Jalen Turner gets that knockdown at the end of the first round, we got to talk about this moment. He thinks it's a walk-off. Like, he tries to Sean O'Malley it.
I mean, fumbled the bag, dog.
Fumble! When we talk about fumbling, this is the shit we're talking about. And then, like, Moicano, he was knocked down, but he bounced right back up. He wasn't that hurt.
He was not that hurt. I was going to say, he, like, pulled his legs up and then immediately started to stand up when he saw Jalen Turner turned around. Like, it was like he was processing in real time as he was falling. Like, he's not pursuing me. I can get back up. Like, you could tell that he was still processing adequately. Yeah. Like, he was not gone by any means.
And then Jalen Turner's like looking at Herb Dean.
He keeps asking him,
like, keep fighting.
Yeah, like, and he kept telling Herb Dean, like, he's done. Well, it's like, then go finish him if he's done. What are you talking about? And then I thought Moicano did a good job of, like, muddying up the end of the round, walk back to his corner like a dog. And it was at that point, I think, that, like, that's the mental breaking moment, right, for Jalen Turner. Like, he thought he did it. He pleaded with the ref, like, this guy's done. It's not happening. Now he's got to shift his mindset back to the fight. And he's not that guy.
Could not agree more. Moicano comes out in the second round, makes it more of a grappling style fight, which obviously favors Moicano. Gets the full mount, postures up, drops ground and pound. Turner basically had zero ground defense.
That was kind of like I give up too. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, that looked like quitting to me. He didn't, like, if Moicano had gone for the choke.
He didn't defend.
If Moicano had gone for the choke, he would have given it. Moicano just didn't give him the opportunity to take that route.
No, I agree, dude. I agree. Great win from Moicano. Moicano, bro, like, he's kind of becoming undeniable. I was always kind of like lukewarm on Moicano. Like, in his career, he had some L's, but man, he's on kind of a run, and I kind of have no choice but to move him up in my rankings. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Maybe it's just a logical take. I have him all the way up to 8.
That's pretty high. You have him above Dariush?
Yeah, I have him right above Dariush. I have him above Saint Denis. I have Michael Chandler really low. Michael Chandler's 37. He fights like a dipshit. I have him all the way down at 11.
All right, but let me ask you this as well. Did you put Max Holloway into your 55 rankings as well, or did you keep him just at 45?
I have not. I have not factored that in.
Because I think technically, with a win over Gaethje, for me, Holloway has to sit at like 2 or 3 in the pound-for-pound 55 rankings as well.
Not wrong. I would just knee-jerk reaction looking right now, slot him in at 3 and make him jump Charles and Gaethje and Poirier.
Make him jump Gaethje, though, like he just beat him. And brutally beat him, too.
No. That's what I'm saying. So I would, like, right now I have Oliveira at 3, Gaethje at 4.
Oh, I see. Now, see, here's my other... I think Oliveira and Max is a sick fight. I would just have them flipped. That's just yeah. I think we see it the exact same, though, so... With that said, I have Moicano at 9, but it sounds like we have him at the same spot when you put Holloway in your rankings.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. Yeah, you're right. I have it. Yeah, that's exactly how that works out. Now, as far as Turner goes, like, bro, like, he needs a fresh coat of paint, as old CLP would say. Like, he has to go to 170. The 155 experiment is done. It's done.
Honestly,
he just lost to 13.
Pretty good time to go to 170 as well, man. I mean, you're talking about Wonder Boy, old. Jeff Neal, old. Neil Magny, old. Michael Venom Page, old. Luque, old. Covington, old. Muhammad, old. Usman, old.
He's got to go to 170, bro, because otherwise I'm feeding him to the wolves. I'm giving him Rambeski. I'm giving him fucking... I'm giving him maybe like a Bond theme. Like, I'm feeding... If he stays at 55, I'm just doing nothing but feeding him to, like, savage Eastern European lightweights.
I could see him having to fight Saint Denis. I could see them booking that fight.
Bro, I'm hammering Saint Denis.
No,
Like
me too.
the
And I think
exact opposite, like an absolute warrior dog, mental giant against the guy who folds and fumbles. Saint Denis all day, like zero X's and O's. I don't give a fuck what kicks and punches. It's all about like mentality.
I almost feel like if you're the UFC, you kind of force his hand doing that too, because it's like, hey, you just lost. Like, we're gonna give you the chance to like keep your number 12 ranking, fighting number 13, and like even if you lose, you can't drop that much. So kind of a safe rankings fight if you want to be a rankings fighter. But if you want to be a fighter's fighter, then he's not going to want to fight Saint Denis, and then that's effectively the UFC if they're like, well, we're not doing anything else unless you want to fight like a no-name guy. And then for Turner, it's like maybe I just go to 70.
I'll say this: knee-jerk, like quick, instant reaction matchmaking. Just looked at welterweight. I don't know why Turner Burns sounds so fun. I don't know why that like jumps off my screen to me. There's other things you can do, but as far as like I think as a fight like I want to see as a fan, that sounds awesome.
See, I think like something like Turner Magny, 12 versus 12, I think is super fun. I think Holland and Turner is fun.
Holland Turner's sick, yeah. Holland Turner's sick. I don't know why. I just think Burns would. I just think that would be a tough matchup. Like I think that would be a really close line.
It'd be a fun matchup. I just feel like Burns is gonna be smart enough to just take him down and in the fight the same way as what we just saw.
Here for that.
See, I just think Kevin Holland's so much more fun because he's not going to take him down. He'll just be down to strike.
They match up physically.
Right,
yeah.
The physical
I feel it. I see it. But yeah, that wraps up the early prelim segment, man. I mean, best early prelims ever. Probably best early prelims maybe until we get to 408 years or whatever. Like, there's no way we're getting, like, all this on early prelims really ever again. So I hope you enjoyed it. And that's why we're making this its own separate video and had to give it its just due.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with that said, we'll take a quick break and we'll see you guys right back around here for the prelims.
Subscribe.